Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advanced, and now this is a great matchup of FIDE Swiss 2025. With the black pieces we have the magician Divya Deshmukh, and with the white pieces here we have Aleksandar Indjic, and he's a really strong grandmaster. And to let you know, in terms of rating perspective, here he is 2650 and Divya is 2478, so this is going to be a very fine match. And let's see how that goes. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Alexander goes for d4, we have d5, c4 and e6. We go into the queen's gambit decline. It was the Tarash before this, which has transposed into the queen's gambit decline. He just comes knight to c3, c5. Now c captures, e captures, and just knight to f3. So this is the Tarash defense. We have two knights variation. Now just knight to c6, a3, knight to f6. And in this position, I mean, if you're thinking about taking the pawn, you could do that, but then it goes to a very drawish line. I don't think anyone in the top level games would ever want to play this. C caps on d4. If you're thinking knight captures, queen captures, knight to f6, yes, you get some advantage with e4, but this is like bullet level play. I mean, you don't want to do this. If d captures, you can just give up the queen and give up the sacrifice the castling basically, and here you'll have a very fine game. You have an extra pawn, you're going to be holding on to it, and yes, white can castle, but you can also develop like really fast. So that's the compensation that you have for giving up castling, and you'll be having a very fine game. But after a3, we have knight to f6, just developing, not going for anything crazy. If g3, c captures, knight captures, and just bishop to c5. And just going for bishop to e3 and moving the bishop back. I think this was the preparation. A bishop to g2, but just castles. Now h5, and h5 is just basically, if I had to sum up Divya's play, this is how I would sum up. This is h5. This is Divya basically. So what she's doing is basically creating chances with the black pieces, and that's how you do it. You play h4, h5. You try to go after the king whenever this kind of structure is there. Not always, but the thing is, sometimes you get very fine chances. Amrita made a really nice point that, you know, whenever she's had a not really a good day, and after then you have to play another round on the next day, she just shows up, she still tries to push for a win, she's still playing there, and every day is a new day for her. And this is the thing where a lot of players are not able to cope up with. If they've had a loss, they just continue on the losing streak, they just continue on that, and they're not able to cope up with losses, they're not able to cope up with draws where they wanted a win. And this is the thing where a lot of people don't have the right mindset, and she has the right mindset, and this is what makes her incredible. This is what makes her a true champion, because now she's able to actually still just come up, show up, and just play amazing moves. It's a new day, it's a new game. Now you just try and push for a win, and that's exactly what she does here. She creates chances with h5, and h5 is a beautiful move in this position. It's not the best move in this position, but you have to understand that not always, if both of the opponents are playing the best moves, it will most likely be a draw. You have to sometimes create a little bit of inaccuracies here and there to try and surprise your opponent, so your opponent blunders and you'll be able to have a good game. And here in this position, just going for knight to a4, just targeting that bishop, knight to g4 now, and just immediately just knight caps on c6, b captures, bishop to c5, attacking the rook. Here just rook to e8, and now just h3, pushing the knight back, and knight to f6. And surprisingly, we had Robert Hess here on the stream, and I was really happy to see him. Huge fan of him, really amazing commentary he does, and a really strong player as well. In this position, he said that Divya has amazing chances. She has the bishop pair, and after this, rook to c1, bishop to a6 was played by her. So in this position, they commented, and he said that Divya has amazing chances to try and push for a win, because you can already see that the bishop pair is looking very active. You're also targeting the e2 pawn. You can see that the knight can jump into the position. You have h4. Your rook is on the right square. I mean, everything is working out for you. And he also mentioned a very nice thing that, you know, he was commentating on Tata Steel's Tata Steel 2023, where Divya was the last seed, and from that she managed to beat against the world's best here, Ju June, and Harika, Koneru, Leitingji, and you know, against all of those, she was the last seed. She still managed to beat them, and he said that, he literally said that, you know, if you don't hear my words, then you can hear his words, and you can understand on the stream. But he basically said that, you know, it was absolutely spectacular. The way she plays is absolutely amazing. Her style of play is very unique, and attacking style of play, aggressive style of play, creating chances style of play. And even yesterday, they talked about that. Yesterday, what happened was most people are not able to recover from that. We saw what happened with Param Maksudlu. He was on a really nice momentum streak on the top of the table, top of the board here, just playing spectacular chase, crushing everyone. But after that loss to Nihal Sarin, he lost consecutively 2 rounds and now is not in the race for candidates. And this is what most people struggle by, because I'm sure you do as well, I do as well. I'm not mastered it, but she has. And that's what he said, that, you know, she's still able to come up, still able to play spectacular chess. And with the way that she's been playing in last 2 years, winning the World Cup and all of those things, were really impressed he was by Divya, and he also said that she definitely has the mindset of a champion, and that's what makes her so great. And I've been telling you about that for years, and I mean, just hearing it from an actual GM is, that's a proud moment. Definitely a proud moment for her. Definitely a proud moment for India as well. And in this position, she goes for in this position here, just India goes for just rook to e1, just defend, because you have to defend. And there's a very crazy line you can do. I'm sure she must have calculated all of this, but the thing is that it's not that very clear. The move is h4, and h4 might not be the best move in the position, but definitely creates chances, because if you try to go wrong in this position, the best move in this position for white is g4. G4 with the idea that if you go bishop to c7 now, because I don't want to trade this, I don't want to give the bishop pair, now I have attacking chances, I have the diagonal. So what I want to do is basically get the queen into the game, and now I'll be very, very nice in this position. If you go for e4, trying to just open up lines, trade queens, and you think that you'll be very happy, but the problem is that you'll be giving your opponent a bit too much, because hey, now just comes knight captures, bishop captures, and after d captures, even allowing the trade to happen, queen captures, bishop captures. Now bishop captures because you don't want to lose the pawn. So you'll have this position. You have to understand, you have the bishop pair, you have the extra pawn, and yes, your structure is ruined with the bishop pair. I can tell you that, I would be really happy with trying to push here for a win, and I think Divya would have been as well. But after h4, you can also go for, if you if you are a beginner, obviously they are not, but the thing is that if you capture g captures, no one is ever going to do that. The trouble is knight to e4, and after bishop captures, rook captures, you can already understand you're losing. So never do this, never do this in your games. And lastly, I promise this is the last one. If you go for this very nice knight caps on b6, you must be thinking that if bishop pair is the problem, then why not just eliminate it with the knight? But the thing is, after a captures, you have to move the bishop back. Where are you going with the bishop? If you go here, then you just give me a tempo. I just push the pawns and I can get the rook into the game. Then I'm going to be pushing this d4, and my position is going to be absolutely amazing. But after bishop to e3, if you try to go all the way back to avoid the tempos, now just comes h captures, and you cannot even capture here back because your bishop would be hanging, and your position just completely becomes bad. Here rook captures on c6. If you try to just take back the pawn, immediately just comes bishop to b7. I'm already on this diagonal. I can push the pawn. I can get the knight into the game. Queen can enter. There could be so many ideas in this position, and I think this is an attacker's game, and really, really going to be enjoying this position with the black pieces. I mean, imagine with the black pieces, you're trying to get this position in a classical game. This is going to be absolutely spectacular. But after rook to e1, she went knight to e4, maybe just prolonging a little bit the h4 move. So maybe she thought that maybe after this she would be able to go for h4 move, but now just comes this bishop to d4, and now bishop is very nicely centralized here. Either you take, or there could be some ideas just pushing the knight back and getting the queen to a very nice diagonal, so attack could bounce back on you. So just bishop to b5, attacking the knight. Knight just jumps to c5, bishop captures, and just bishop to c4. So now what do you do in this position? Here just p3 was played, pushing the bishop back, but just knight captures. We have pawn captures. Now just knight to e4, and now we have e3, and now we have queen to f6. A very nice move. And now you're attacking the pawn. What do you even do here? Queen to f3 was played, and Robert has also analyzed all of this, and they said that they would go into a very nice endgame. They showed a line, and that was exactly the endgame that they played. These people are so proficient in the lines that they analyze here. Queen captures, bishop captures, and a very nice knight to d2. And kudos to Divya for finding all of these moves, because these are the only moves that can ensure a draw in this position. He just bishop captures on h5, knight captures on c4, bishop to e2, and now just going for knight to e5, f4 now, knight to d7, bishop to f3, and just rook a to c8, e4, d captures, and now just going for rook captures, bishop captures. And it looks like you maybe have something, because you have the outside passer, and your king can defend against 3 against 2. There is no issues, but you have the bishop, and that's the problem. With an open position, bishop is always useful than a knight, and you'll see that so many times often. And if you had the queens, maybe you can try to do something with the knight, but in this position it's very difficult to push. And here c5 was played, but now just comes bishop to f5, pinning this. Now just comes this rook to c7, and you could have taken, and that would be absolutely fine as well. Rook captures, maybe just rook captures, but that game is going to be ending in a draw. So here knight to f8 was played, but just rook to d8, g6 now, bishop to c2, king to g7, and f5, pushing up the pawns all the way. G captures, bishop captures, knight to e6, but now just comes bishop captures, f captures, and now you have 2 outside passes, and white has 2 connected passes. But the thing is that you cannot do anything in this position. This pawn is a bit too fast for you to do anything, and the trouble is that here king to f2, c4 was played, king to e2, and both pairs realized that this was a draw, and it was on just move 41st that both pairs agreed to a draw. A really great decision, and this has been amazing that Divya has almost now climbed 17 points of rating with even the last game that she can actually win. That's going to be absolutely spectacular because she's playing the white pieces tomorrow, so she can try to win that. And I mean, almost she can get 20 plus points of rating with just one event. That's absolutely spectacular. And coming from a point where you have the tournament with an average rating going about 2600, that's absolutely spectacular. And for those of you wondering why this is a draw, well, let's say if you try to go for c3, now just comes king to d1, c2 check, king to c1, a5. Let's say you try to go low, because here you cannot just go for rook to c3 right away, because here just a check would come, you'd be able to pick up this. So just that's why a5. But now once you go for the pawn, rook to c3, rook caps on a5, rook caps on g3, king caps on c2, rook caps on h3. So now you have two passes, but it's basically a race, but there is no race here in this position. It's mostly a draw. Let's say you play rook to e5, king comes in, rook to b5, e5, a4, I mean a5. Now just comes rook to e3, king to b2, and most likely here this is the situation where both players would be able to go for a draw with a perpetual. But here the thing is that that's why there is no point in playing, because it just wastes both of your times, and that's why both players realize this, and yeah, they went for a draw. I would say really a spectacular result for Divya, because now yesterday's day was really not good. To be able to bounce back like this with the black pieces against a 2650 opponent is really mind-blowing. And the thing is that she really had, and even then pushing for a win, I mean, that's the mindset that you want to go by here, trying to push every game to a win. And yeah, these prodigies, these genius prodigies are absolutely spectacular. I love watching their games because they teach me so much. All of these games are just really great learning experience for me. I'm sure it's for you as well, because they are not just actually inspiring a lot of young kids, but they are inspiring a lot of us people as well, who have reached a certain place, but they still inspire us to play and learn all of these amazing games. And yeah, that's absolutely spectacular. I mean, coming from the perspective of I'm decently rated, but the thing is that the fact of the matter is these players are playing so spectacularly that even I'll be in a few years going for playing OTB tournaments, and might even push for some norms here. I mean, 10 years down the line, I have no norms, but yeah, somewhere along the line, I mean, I'm learning, and maybe in a few years I'll have some norms as well. And hopefully that's the way how it goes. But yeah, I mean, amazing play by Divya. Kudos to her. I hope she keeps this mindset up. She keeps continuing to push the games for the win. And I mean, just incredible play, because getting like 20 plus rating points from a single tournament is very difficult, since the tournament is so tough. But the yeah, I mean, it's going to be in October 4th, India versus USA, where India could potentially beat USA. I mean, a lot of stakes there. But yeah, in candidates as well, in World Chess Championship, and she can be a really great challenger to Jo In-jun. And it's going to be absolutely spectacular if she is able to get a victory there in candidates. And if she continues like this, I mean, the learning here, she's going to be the absolute top of the world. She's going to be a really great talent that's going to be coming out of India in a few years. And that's the games are really showing, because you don't push against 2650 like that with h5 until you have a really amazing confidence in your mind that you can try and actually beat them. And when that confidence comes, when that starts to show in the other tournaments, you're going to be absolutely crushing everyone. And that's what she's been doing. I hope she continues that, because that's the path that you're going to take, like you did Polgar. That's the path you're going to take to be a legend, like Mikhail Tal, like Capablanca, like Morphy. And that's the path she's taking. Absolutely amazing. And I always say this, I'm always going to be saying this is the making of a world chess champion, and she's showing that day by day. That's absolutely spectacular for India. I hope she wins it for India. India needs a world chess champion, because a lot of these young girls are, I mean, when Gukesh became world chess champion, lot of people came into chess. But still, when you have a women's world chess champion, there will be a lot of young girls that are going to be inspired here in India. And a lot of these players are going to be playing in the open section, trying to push for a win like she is. And it's going to be absolutely spectacular. The gap will diverge a lot, ratings will increase, and there will be an amazing chess boom in women's side as well. And most of these players that are going to be playing in the open section are going to be competing against men. Their ratings will increase, their games will rise, we're going to have spectacular competition. And yeah, most likely in the coming years we might just see a women's open champion as well, and that's going to be amazing. So we are heading towards it, but definitely hopefully we reach there as fast as possible. That's going to be absolutely spectacular. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.